friends. This is Faith Cawthon-Green, and I'm going live today because God gave me a prophetic message to release. Haven't done one of these in a while, but I was going to wait until later to do it. But the weight of the word is weighing on me so heavily. I was like, let me go ahead and release this, Jesus. And so as God was I had a dream last night. And so my brother, Marcus Coleman, was helping me to interpret the dream earlier today. And it led me to a scripture about daughters getting an inheritance. And so if you know the history, in biblical times, generally, daughters were not allowed to inherit from fathers. If there were no sons, then the daughters did not get to inherit. And so this is what God said to me. I'm going to start with Numbers 27, and uh, I'm going to start at verse number 3. It says, "Our father died in the wilderness, yet he was not among the group of those who gathered together against the Lord in the group of Korah, but he died in his own sin and had no sons. Why should the name of our father be withdrawn from among his family simply because he had no son? Give us property among our father's brothers." So Moses brought their case before the Lord. Then the Lord said to Moses, "The daughters of Zelophehad are right about their statements. You shall certainly give them hereditary property among their father's brothers, and you shall transfer the inheritance of their father to them. Further, you shall speak to the sons of Israel, saying, if a man dies and has no son, then you shall transfer his inheritance to his daughter. And if he has no daughter, then you shall give his inheritance to his brothers. If he has no brothers, then you shall give his inheritance to his father's brothers." So here's what God was saying to me about this. Hey, how are you? So here's what God was saying to me about this. He said, now in this time and in this season, I'm giving a lot to my daughters. And he said, because there are no sons. So what God was saying to me is, I'm giving the lot and the inheritance to my daughters. I'm pushing my daughters to the forefront because the men are not posturing themselves as sons. They are posturing themselves as slaves. And so God is now giving a lot and inheritance to his daughters, and he's pushing the daughters to the forefront. And I thought about this and I was like, man, God, this is so funny, because everybody is always like, oh, the independent woman is ruining the dynamic of the relationship between man and woman, and women out here trying to go get the bag and this and this and that and the third. But here it is. This is what God is doing in this time. He's giving the lot to the daughters. And I'm not just talking about the financial lot. Notice how there are more women coming up to the stage and the platform to speak on behalf of God, because God is giving a lot to the daughters. But watch, why is God giving a lot to the daughters? Well, because one, the sons aren't in position, right? The sons are not operating as sons. So they're posturing themselves more as slaves because they're spending so much time focused on hustling, going to get the bag, trying to garner this level of success or notoriety, that they're missing the necessity to find the posture of a son of God. And because they're missing the necessity, because they're so caught up in success and hustling and going to get the bag, God is taking that off of the sons and he's giving it to the daughters. But here's what you need to understand about that. He's giving it to the daughters until sons show up. So for the daughters who are going to get the bag, who are pushed up in the forefront, who are getting to the platforms, who are receiving the lot and the inheritance, when a son shows up, Now, it's your job and your duty to submit the lot to the son so that he can manage and steward it. The same as Ruth did with Boaz, right? Ruth had a lot when she arrived. She was heir to something, but because of the death of her husband and because of the rule that she wasn't supposed to receive an inheritance, she had to have a kinsman redeemer. So then she yielded her lot to Boaz. And this is what sets the proper order of submission when it comes to the order of marriage, the husband and the wife. See, but understand that submission is not always, I talked about this on one of my lives, submission is not about obedience to someone else. Submission is about trust. So now God is putting not only the son, but the daughter to the test to see, one, do you trust God? Because the first area of submission is to submit to God first. The son must submit to God and the daughter must submit to God. So that lot that is being granted to the daughter must be submitted to the father. God, what am I supposed to do with this? When a son arrives for you, daughters, don't do this whole, I got the bag, I earned this, this is mine. If he ain't bringing nothing to the table, then I can't share this with him. That's dead and it's out of order. And I'm going to tell you right now that when God gives you a lot, if you do that, he's snatching that lot out from under your feet, because this is about restoring the proper order of the family. So what God is doing is he's giving a lot to the daughters to take the pressure off of the sons and give them room to come out of that slave mentality and into the sonship mentality. So he's saying, look, daughter, all right, right now, I'm going to transfer this weight to you. Here, I'm going to transfer this lot to you so that my son has room to come and find me, because they're looking for all the wrong things. They're looking for manhood and sonship in all the wrong places. So daughters, understand that when a son arrives for you, you submit the lot to the son to manage, because that's what submission is. Trust. It's not obedience. It's about trust. Now, I'm saying to you, I got this lot that my father gave to me, and now it becomes our lot and not just my lot. Now I am trusting you as the head that my father has placed in our family, in our household. I am trusting you now to manage our lot, not my lot. Let me help you. I don't care how long you went to school, how much you put into it. Nothing that you have belongs to you. It belongs to the Father. And thus, as it belongs to the Father, it must be submitted to him. Now, sons, let me help you. Don't come into this situation, well, that's her stuff, feeling like you're not worthy because that's what God gave to her. No, there's another level and area of submission, that your father went to get something for you that you didn't have to go get for yourself. That's what sonship looks like. Stop with these societal norms that say, oh my God, well, the woman went to get something and it makes me less of a man because she got something and I didn't, or she brought more to the table than I did. No, she might have brought something to the table financially, but there's so many more things to bring to the table than just money and finance. This is what's wrong with us. The order is off. The priorities are off, and we are out of position. So understand that it's a time. I'm going to go beat up. Isaiah 43:19 says, behold, I am doing something new. Now it will spring up. Will you not be aware of it? I will even make a roadway in the wilderness, rivers in the desert. So here it is. God is doing a new thing. He's like, now I'm giving the lot to the daughters. But in order for you to be able to understand and move in conjunction and co-laboring with God, you have to perceive the new thing. If you don't perceive the new thing, sons, you're going to miss the daughter that God had for you, which in this brings me to Proverbs 18:22. He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So God is giving the lot to the daughter, and he's like, now son, find the wife, because she is where your favor is. You out here trying to go get it for yourself, but in this time, I'm giving the lot to the daughters. So son, understand that the daughter has something you need, and daughters understand that the son has something that you need. And sons, don't come into this situation with a slavery mentality that says, I gotta go work for the bag myself. I can't accept whatever God has given her. I can't accept it because I didn't bring that work to the table, or I'm less of a man because I didn't work for it, or I didn't provide it. That is pride, and pride comes before the fall. It's dead. It's not time for that anymore. Ecclesiastes 3:1-10. There's an appointed time for everything. And there is a time for every matter under heaven. A time to give birth and a time to die. A time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted. A time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down and a time to build up. A time to weep and a time to laugh. A time to mourn and a time to dance. A time to throw stones and a time to gather stones. A time to embrace and a time to shun embracing. A time to search and a time to give up as lost. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear apart and a time to sew together. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time for peace. What benefit is there for the worker from that in which he labors? I have seen the task which God, watch this, has given the sons of mankind with which to occupy themselves. You know what a slave is? A son of mankind. So he has given you that labor to occupy yourself, but it's not benefiting you, sons. Why? Because it's keeping you in that slavery mentality. And he's trying to get you into the son mentality because he wants to give it to you. He wants to do it for you. He's trying to get you out of that cursed mentality. That's what he said to Adam and Eve. He said to Adam, now you got to go work by the sweat of your brow. And that's what all of y'all are doing. You still operating as slaves. And God is calling you back into sonship. Get in position. Put the plow down. It's not time for you to push the plow. It's time for you to pursue the Father, because you are missing the true inheritance because you're so busy with that slavery mentality, and it's only simply occupying you. It's not benefiting you. So God has decided that in this time, I'm granting the lot to the daughters to make room for my sons to become sons, for my sons to be in pursuit of me and my purpose and my plan and my will for their lives, to stop trying to chase the bag. Let me take that pressure off of you of chasing the bag. So daughters, don't you bring the same holds true. Don't you bring that pride to the table that says, I went to get this bag, and when the son shows up, you miss your inheritance, because God's inheritance is his true prosperity over your life. And his true prosperity over your life is for every area of your life to prosper, not just your bank account, not just your career, but every area. He wants you to be loved and cared for and covered as a daughter. He wants you to be provided for as a daughter. He wants you to be protected as a daughter. He wants you to be loved and cherished as a daughter. He wants you to be served as a daughter. But don't you bring that foolish arrogance, that INDEPENDE. Listen, God is going to kill that so dead so fast if that's what you bring. He ain't having it. He's giving a lot to the daughters to make room for the sons, to make room for the divine order to be restored, because we are out of order. And this is why we are not seeing a move of God. This is why the kingdom is not having the impact that it's supposed to have. This is why our children are not being trained up in the way that they should go, because the parents are wayward. Because the sons and the daughters who are fathers and mothers are not in position. Therefore, the children cannot get in position, because everybody's trying to chase the bag. And nobody's trying to chase the Father. And thus, everything is out of order. It's time to realign. And listen, if you don't like the word, that's cool. Fight me. But just know, if you fight me, I'm going to know that you haven't been to God about it. It's time to realign with the Father and what He is doing now. He is doing a new thing. Will you perceive it? Because if you can't perceive it, you're going to squander your opportunity to realign and to receive the lot and the inheritance that God has for you, whether it comes through a daughter or whether it comes directly to you. Whatever that looks like, if you cannot perceive that He is doing a new thing and you cannot align with the new thing, you're going to miss it. Don't miss the move of God. That's the word. That's the word. And I got to put this out here because God is pushing me. I don't normally do this. But look, if you feel led to sow a seed on this word, you can do so at Cash App $ Breath of God, MIN, or at Venmo Breath of God, MIN, or at PayPal at GotFaith1222. If God so leads you, whether you do it or not, that don't got nothing to do with me. That's between you and God. But if God so leads you, that's how you can do it. I also place that information in the comments along with the scriptural references. But please share this word with somebody that I know everybody needs to hear. All right. I love y'all. Bye.